Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And hope you're going to have yourself a great day and already having yourself a great day. Welcome along to AFTV. Trying to be positive today. And, in the midst of this ever continuing coronavirus that is just everywhere right now in the world, we've got to try and be positive. We've got to try and be on the front foot against this horrible virus. And of course, on the sporting front and on the football front, there are some sports starting to emerge back from it. The Bundesliga, of course, will be returning this weekend. So we'll get to see what football behind closed doors is going to look like from a sort of spectator's perspective. We've all missed football. Well, what's it going to be like watching games without no fans? Obviously, it's not going to be nowhere near the spectacle, but I suppose at this moment in time where we've had nothing, something is better than nothing. And of course, they continue in the Premier League to try and get football back. And as I've been saying for about a week or so now, the Premier League are going to be having a real close look at everything they're doing over in the Bundesliga, trying to learn from any mistakes they make, try to learn from anything good that they do. So you can be assured that they're going to be watching very closely what they're going to be doing. And they've come up, the Premier League, with more suggestions again today. Of course, they're continuing to have their meetings. I think they've got a meeting today of the PFA, which is the Players Association, and also the LMA, which is the Managers Association, League Managers Association. They're all meeting today to discuss again how we get football started. And there's been a lot of suggestions that have been coming up on how to get back into training safely. We know that at Arsenal, for instance, players have returned back to training, but can only train at the moment on their own. Can have to come into training on their own, train on a pitch on their own, and then go home on their own. There's still no contact. Well, there's other proposals today now, these proposals and suggestions regarding training. And one of them, which was, when I saw it, I was quite startled by that, is to disinfect pitches and surfaces that players are going to play on. Now, how are they going to do that? Disinfecting a pitch, it'd be really interesting to see how they do that. How do you disinfect a whole pitch? I mean, will that disinfectant stay on that surface, and how long for? I'm sure they must have done their got the experts to talk about it, but that's one of the things they're going to be doing, disinfecting the pitches. In training, there's going to be no tackling, right? So no tackling in training. Again, that's a bit strange, because if you can't tackle in training, when the match comes around, I mean, what sort of football are we going to be watching when it actually starts back? And you know that I've been a big advocate for trying to get it back starting, but is this a measure that, this is the thing, you got to read behind the headlines there. Is this a measure that's just now, or will this be like all the way leading up to when they hope to start back on the 12th of June, that there'll be no tackling? Because you're going to need tackling, aren't you? Although sometimes watching Arsenal, there's been no tackling, of some players. But no tackling in trainers, disinfecting the pitches, disinfecting the corner flags, and only limiting training to about 5 at a time. So it'd be 5 people training at a time. So it's very limited. This is what they're calling the phase 1 of it. So no doubt they will step it up, and probably by the next week or the week after it will change. But this is like the first steps. They're also going to be doing things like taking the temperature of all the players that come into training as well. So, and also twice weekly testing as well. That's going to be another measure where they keep testing the players. So, a lot of stringent measures being brought in, and they're bringing them back very slowly, and they're trying to make it as safe as they possibly can. But disinfected pitches. Who would have thought at the start of the year, if somebody said to you that, they're going to get football back on, but they're going to have to disinfect the pitches, you'd be like, it's gone mad. But this is the new normal, as we keep hearing about. Now, on the transfer front, Arsenal linked again today with Axel Disasi, the 22-year-old from Reims. We've spoken about him a few times, still being linked with a move to Arsenal. Reims now have apparently said they are more than willing to sell him, and they're looking for around about £13 million. I don't think they'll get that, in this current coronavirus market. They might even struggle to get that, but that is significantly lower than the sort of price that was first being spoken about for him, where, those are like 20, 25 million, 30 million. They're adjusting their prices now because they know in this current coronavirus crisis, it's going to be very difficult to get some of those big fees. And remember, these clubs in France, they need to sell a lot of them because, the league finished early. They would have lost a lot of revenue. There's a lot of uncertainty around in the French Ligue 1 at the moment. So Reims said to be willing to sell him for £13 million. Spurs and Southampton are also the other two teams that's really, really interested in bringing him in. But he's again linked with a move to Arsenal. Would he suit Arsenal at the centre-back position? Again, as I said before, I don't know a lot about him. Remember, we spoke to Adam from Get French Football News. He was saying he's a good player, very good player, but benefiting a lot from playing alongside a very experienced player at Reims. So will he be, say we bought him in, would he be a perfect fit alongside, say, a Saliba, when Adam was saying at Reims he's benefiting from, playing next to older heads? So be interesting to see how that one develops out. I'm not sure. I think Arsenal will more want to go for Pablo Mari to bring in. Ian Wright yesterday did an interview with Per Mertesacker, where Ian Wright's been doing these interviews for Adidas, and Mertesacker was asked by Ian Wright about the academy. Of course, Mertesacker's now head of the academy, and he said, these are his quotes. He said, "We're really keen on giving Mikel Arteta a lot of headaches." And then he went on to say, he must be thinking, what's going on at the academy? Every year there is a potential 2 or 3 players who can step onto that court. And we are going to have to rely on a lot of the academy players with such a lack of spending. And which one of those academy players are going to be the ones that are really going to step up? Of course, we already know about Bukayo Saka. We already know about Eddie Nketiah, who stepped up. Eddie Nketiah stepped up. Arteta likes him. He went on Leeds on loan, took him back off of that loan period, and he's already playing first team games, figured quite a lot. In some games, featuring ahead of Lacazette. So we already know that he's definitely going to be one of those players that is going to be getting a lot of game time. We also know that Bukayo Saka, if we can sign him to a new contract, but we know he is going to be one of those players that's going to step up as well. Really, really liked a lot by Mikel Arteta, and a real valuable player, valuable asset right now for Arsenal. We know that who's going to be the other ones? Who's going to be the other ones? Ainsley Maitland-Niles. What does the future hold for him? Again, another player that's come through our academy, remember, and we have to be really, really proud of that. But what does the future hold for Ainsley Maitland-Niles at Arsenal? Will they keep hold of him, or will they sell him? That's going to be a really interesting thing to see how that one develops out. And then there's other players. Emile Smith-Rowe, who's currently on loan at Huddersfield till the end of the season. I've got a mate who's a Huddersfield fan. He's been raving about him, saying, "Robbie, we want to keep him. He's been excellent. He's been exceptional. Really has done well on his loan move. He's a very, very good player." And again, a lot of people suggesting that he could be a guy that could step up. We're talking about lots of midfielders. This midfielder we can bring in, and that midfielder we can bring in. What about him? Could he be the guy that fits the bill? Could he be the guy that will be the one that really steps up to the plate. Then there's other youngsters out there from the academy. Of course, there's Reece Nelson, who again figured a lot of first team football, done really, really well towards the end of the campaign. Is he good enough to step up? Do we need to be talking about buying wingers and stuff like that when we've got Reece Nelson? Will another, next season when he's sort of under Mikel Arteta's tutelage week in, week out, will we see the emergence of a really top player? Had previous spells on loan over there in Germany at Hanover, started off well, then tailed off. But is Arteta the person that is going to really get the best out of him? Then there's a couple of other youngsters that are definitely worth taking a look at. Zach Medley's one of them. In defence, he's a really talented player, but yet to really step up into that role. As a centre back, is he going to be able to step up and emerge as a top player at Arsenal? Out on loan at Lincoln City was Tyrese John Jules, who again was doing really well. Got injured though. That was the unfortunate thing, but he was doing well on that loan move, scoring a lot of goals before that in the under-23s. Is he the one that is going to step up? And then there's Falarin Balogun, who again, I remember when the other day when we had Kevin Campbell on the show, Kevin Campbell was raving about this kid and saying that this guy, he's the real deal. He's going to be able to step up. So knowing that we're going to be able and can make it into the first team, because let's be real, we're not going to be doing no big spending. We may make one or two signings, but we're not going to be making, loads of mega signings. So which one of those are going to step up? Of course, there's Joe Willock as well. Another player that, especially Ljungberg loves him, I heard. Ljungberg really pushed for him to be promoted into the first team. Is this the year for Willock? Certainly, it's a big year for all of those young players because it's the year when they have to stake their claim. Because with, as I said, finances being limited, this is the year where if they really put in good performances, they could become first team regulars at Arsenal. So which out of those for Huddersfield? Let's try to have higher expectations of players. Excuse me. He's gone out on loan, yeah, and he's doing well at Huddersfield. What? It's not about we're lowering our expectations because he's on loan at Huddersfield. The whole point of a loan move is that you go there and you learn your trade and you do well. And from what I've been told, and remember, Huddersfield are a championship team, he has been one of the star players at Huddersfield. They don't want him to go back. And yeah, we know he's coming from a Premier League team, but a Premier League academy team. He's playing amongst big men now and he's shining. And remember, there's a lot of players that are top Premier League players. That's how they started. It was not a matter of lowering their expectations. They started off in lower league teams and done their academy. They've done their apprenticeship there before coming back to play for the first. Dr. Viraj says, hi, Robbie. Hearing Arteta's comments about Kieran Tierney, do you think Arteta will start Tierney at left back ahead of Saka and bench Saka? Saka can't be pushed on the wing since Aubameyang plays there. Well, listen, Tierney is the main guy for that position. And if Tierney is fit, you would think that Tierney would be the one starting in that position. And then it'd be a matter of moving Saka further up the field to play on the left as a left winger. But listen, it always also provides a lot of competition for Tierney. You know what I mean? I think there'll be a position found, you know what I mean? And I don't think it's a matter of forcing Saka out of the team. Tierney's going to have to earn his position, and that's what we want. Everybody fighting for a position in each part. Lord's Official says, we already have some top-class youth. It would be better if we keep them playing, develop them into a world-class, into world-class players, and who knows, we really might have a world-class squad. Of course, there. And, as I said, I just named out a few. Let's get this one from Archie Young. He said, I've been at a Reims game at home, and I saw Axel Disasi, and he is decent when he played in the second division. So, you know, bit of ratings there. Sammy says, hey, Robbie, I think Reece Nelson is quality. So shout out from Reece Nelson. Hi, Robbie. Have you heard of Miguel Aziz in the youth setup? He's a very exciting prospect. So there's another one. Hi from South Africa. Kenyan in the uni here. Keeping up to date with AFTV Daily. Thanks, Robbie. No problem, mate. And just running through them here. Really want to get your comments on the youth right now. That's what I really want to hear about those, you know, because it's an interesting thought today. Viniac says Smith Rowe, perfect backup for Ozil next season. So again, Smith Rowe, I like Smith Rowe. I really do. And as I said, our game time you get. This guy says Martinelli up front, swapping with Saka on the left wing during the games. We can do it with players that are already there. Wow, we save ourselves a lot of money. We don't have to go out and be, you know, start, you know, spending left, right, and centre. Ilhan says keep Eddie Nketiah, Willock, Saka, sell Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, and loan Nelson. Aniket says Nelson is another Iwobi. I'm telling you, please loan him or sell him. He's not really had enough games for me to be saying, you know, I don't think we should sell him yet. I think we should keep him. I want to see what he's going to do next season. Prince FA says Maitland-Niles should forget about playing in the midfield and focus on playing as a right back. He should be fighting with Hector on that right back. After all, players are made to change their position every time, just like Leno, who used to play in the midfield and had to convert him. I think as well, Maitland-Niles should concentrate on right back. I really do, because if he's going to try to get in as a midfielder, he's going to really struggle. We've got some very good midfielders there. I think I agree with that. Concentrate on the right back position. I think he was doing very well then. Afam says Smith Rowe is quality. I believe he will make it at Arsenal, but the three most exciting players are Nketiah, Saka, and Balogun. And as I said, Balogun getting a lot of ratings from people that have seen him playing, saying that he could be the next thing. Tyrese was, you know, Tyrese John Jules was doing really well, banging in lots of goals as well. He's another top prospect. Pierre-Eric says, Pierre-Eric Ronigan says, hi, Robbie. Why not doing a show talking about the European Cup? Everybody seemed to have forgotten about that tournament. Where at the moment, how are you going to travel to the European Cup? I forgot who raised it the other day, whether it's Chris Hudson and that, but European Cup at the moment, how are you going to do that? You know, if you come, for instance, the Prime Minister just came out a couple of days ago and said 14-day quarantine for anybody coming into the UK. So to play the Champions League, and this quarantines are like most of the countries, Spain, France, all of them have got these quarantines in place. How could you play a European Cup? Because you can't have a two-legged game, because the team coming in is going to have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So I don't know how they're going to finish that particular tournament. I mean, it's bad enough over here. We're talking neutral grounds and stuff like that, but I don't know how European Cup's going to get finished, to be honest. So, plus we're not in the European Cup. We're not in Europe no more. It's only Bant says, people who are saying that Nelson is another Iwobi don't watch enough football. Matthew Dean says, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is not good enough. Championship at best. Nah, he's not a championship player. He's better than that. D-Dub says, Martinelli is a wonder kid. His box movement is better than I've seen from any current Arsenal attacking player. Great in the air too. Once he's stronger, he'll definitely be a centre forward for me, or inside forward. He's definitely a top talent. The only reason I didn't mention him is because he didn't come through the actual academy, although he is one of our star young players. Shezad says Balogun is a very good and up and coming. Big up all your shows, Robbie. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Balogun, as I said, is really getting a lot of ratings. And hopefully we'll get to see him next year playing. I really would like to see that. Imad says, hi, Robbie. Big up. Been watching from day one. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe are not good enough. And I wouldn't take Willock. It doesn't have end product and makes too many mistakes. I've got big expectations for Nelson. When you're a young player, like, say, Joe Willock, you are going to make mistakes. That's how you learn, isn't it? You learn through mistakes. It's very hard for young players because, obviously, you make a mistake, everyone's on your case. But in life, that's how you learn. You learn from mistakes. And so they got to make some mistakes, you know, to get the best out of them. Now, I just look at it and I say somebody like Willock had quite a lot of game time last year. Reece Nelson limited, but still first team experience. Eddie Nketiah, quite a lot of first team games, you know, after he came in off the loan, you know, figured in big games. Next year is big for them. This is the year, you know, when everybody's going to be looking at them and saying, right, come on, up now to the next level, right? Can you save us? And again, what an opportunity for them. What an opportunity for them, because at Arsenal, they don't want to spend a load of money and this coronavirus crisis is going to mean that spending is going to be low. So if they're doing the business, why would you go out and buy a winger if Reece Nelson's doing the business? Like Saka, isn't it? We've stopped talking about left backs and left wingers because we know we got Saka there. We're desperate to sign him, you know. Had he not have played those first team games, nobody would be saying, oh, be bothering about his contract. You know what I mean? Now we want to make sure his contract gets done. So, you know, really a big opportunity for these players to really, really step up. Off says Emile Smith-Rowe is a great prospect. I remember him on pre-season. He was superb. I remember that. His pre-season he was. Then he came to played a few first-team games, played well. You know, but yeah, definitely he's a top, and he's done well out on loan. D-Dubs, I'm thinking of the group. D-Dub says, no brainer for me. Miles needs a season on loan to be able to play as a centre midfielder. We can watch development. If he shines, bring him back for that position. If not, sell him. We have nothing to lose. That's a good shout. You know, that's a good shout because I really think he's going to struggle to get in as a right back now. Bellerin's the established right back, and it's going to be the right back who's going to get that position. Looks like Arsenal are looking to buy a right back, or either that or they're going to play Cedric there, who they got on loan, which pushes Maitland-Niles down the pecking order. Is he going to get into that midfield? He's going to find it really, really difficult. I don't really see him as a central midfielder. I see him more as a wide midfield player. So he's going to find that really difficult. So maybe sending him out on loan and seeing what he can do. That's a great shout by D-Dubs. It really is a great shout. Joker Reed says, I know the virus will affect our transfer plans, but I believe we would still get in most of the positions we need, and Mikel will improve whichever player will be left at the club after the window. Well, he's going to have to. Mike Dennis says, Smith-Rowe is a good player, but he's always injured. But on his loan move, I don't think he's had any injury problems as far as I know. So this one here, Kartik says, Cedric wasting money on injured players. Arteta is done out here. Well, he's not injured now. He's ready to go. He came in, obviously, with an injury, but he's apparently ready to go now. Kingsley says Saka will be a very important player to Arsenal in the future due to his versatility. Martinelli will win the Ballon d'Or. Jeez, calm down, man. Calm down. Keep Willock and Smith-Rowe. I still feel we can do without a number 10. Okay. Niles says, Robbie, what youngsters you think are next to make the step up? Well, there's Balogun there, and also Tyrese John Jules, I like him. Zach Medley is an interesting one. We really need a centre-back. He's not really had much of a chance in the first team. Really imposing kid, 6'5" he is. So a really imposing kid. And again, it's going to be a big year for him. You know, he hasn't really had a chance yet. You know, he hasn't really had a chance. But if he could get his chance and come in and do well, who knows? It's getting crowded now in that centre-back position. Centre-back's always a very difficult position to burst into the team because, you know, it's sometimes a position where you need a bit of experience. But who knows? I'd like to see more of him. We haven't seen enough of him for sure. Hugo Flink says, if Reece is another Iwobi, it is not bad. People forgot that we sold him for 35 million. Very true. And Iwobi wasn't all that bad. I'll tell you what, if he, you know, so that's a very true point the guy makes there. This one, JK Play says, Tyrese John Jules had his loan move to Lincoln cut short because of injury. Yeah, that's what I said at the start. Got injured, of course, on his loan move, but started off well there. And I think he's going to be a top player. I really do. This gentleman, who I can't pronounce his name, sorry. But he says, Robbie, missing your match interviews. Hopefully it'll be back. It all depends. Lock up behind locked doors interviews is what we'll be doing. This one here, Matthew Dyson 1609 says we have some of the best quality youth: Martinelli, Saka, Nketiah, Nelson, Smith Rowe, Guendouzi, Willock, and so many more have the potential to be unreal and make our team world class again. And that's what we're going to be relying on. That's what we are going to be relying on, a lot of those youngsters. Maxwell Yaboa says, Don Robbie, I'm a Chelsea fan, and do you fear that Arsenal will sell Martinelli to a big club like Barca or Bayern? I think in the future, that's always a fear. I think anytime you buy a player from South America, if you speak to most players from South America, their ambition is to one day play for either Barcelona or Real Madrid. That's normally those two clubs, you know, they've grown up. Messi's been their hero. Ronaldo's not, I'm not about Cristiano Ronaldo, original Ronaldo. You know, they've, you know, Ronaldinho. They've seen all these greats play in, you know, over there in Spain. And a lot of them, that's their dream move, is to go to one of those two clubs. But if Arsenal time down to a long enough deal, reward him and match his ambitions long term, why not? It's the time for Arsenal to start hanging on to our best players, and that includes young players. So the trick is with a young player is to sign them to a long deal. And then when you've got them on a long deal now, develop them and turn them into world-class players. And then you've got yourself an asset, which means if you did sell a Martinelli, which I hope we don't, but if you did sell him, you know, it's going to be, you're going to have to pay 150 million plus for him, them sort of things. But when was the last time we even sold a young player for mega money? I think it was only really Oxlade-Chamberlain. So that is the importance of developing youth. And then when you develop in youth, signing them down to a long contract and keeping them. And if someone is going to buy them, they've got to come good with the money, or else forget it. Going to do the last couple here now. Let's get this one. Ollie 19 says, Aubameyang should be sold when the window opens to one of the Madrid teams. Why? What are you on about? Why should he be sold? And last one here, TJ says, I agree with what Claude said to Claude last night. What Claude said about Arteta. Do you remember when Emery just came into Arsenal and made a huge difference compared to Wenger? You guys were on an unbeaten run as well. Claude last night basically saying that, you know, he's unsure about Arteta. You can watch back that show from last night. Claude has been typical Claude. Very pessimistic. I'm optimistic about Arteta. And I think Arteta is going to be important in developing these young players. Arteta can get the best out of them. He can change their mentality and turn them into top players. And that's what we need to start doing. We need to start turning some of our young, exceptional talent into top players, which means if we sell them, we make a load of money. if we keep them, we benefit by doing well in the league, which means we benefit all round. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget, we're going to be here tonight. Got a big show for you tonight, actually, at 8 o'clock. We should have the boxer Anthony Yard on here, Arsenal fan, and also one of the best boxers around at the moment, coming onto the show. Big Arsenal fan, as I said. So look out for that one later on. But thanks for watching and having yourself a great day.